her eyes. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Sophie and today I'm going to be talking about 10 things that every beginner guitarist should know. So the reason I wanted to make this video was because over the years that I have been learning guitar, playing guitar and teaching guitar, I have learned a lot of things that I wish I could have known when I had just started my guitar journey, and I hope they are somewhat helpful to you. So let's start off with number one. Scales, chords and music theory are actually all really important. I feel like a lot of people can be sort of put off by music theory and they feel it's a bit daunting, particularly as a beginner guitarist. I was terrified of it, to be honest with you. And there's actually no reason to be. Music theory is actually just there to help you understand what's going on with your instrument a little bit more. As a guitar teacher now, I'm teaching so many people that have really great playing skills. But when it comes to them actually playing, they don't understand what they're doing or why it sounds the way it does. Speaking from my personal experience, I avoided music theory for quite a long time until I started studying it at school for like a qualification. I'm still finding things now that blow my mind with music theory and just make me really appreciate music as a whole. You don't have to spend hours and hours reading music theory books and, you know, sitting on websites and stuff like that to understand basic music theory. Something that I recommend to beginners and something that I teach my students right from the start is basic chord and scale knowledge. Without chords, there's no songs, and without scales, there's no riffs. So it's nice to be sort of in touch with what's actually going on and where things come from. I know that a lot of people avoid music theory and scales and chords and stuff like that because they think it's sort of boring, and yes, it can be kind of tedious to sit there and try and remember all these scales and all these chords, but I promise you, if you put in the hours now, it's gonna help you so much more later on in your guitar journey. So that's number one, don't neglect music theory. Okay, so number two, something I wish I would have done right from the beginning. It didn't take me too long to sort of discover this, but I really wish it would have been there from the start, was getting a consistent practice routine or schedule together. From what I remember and from what my beginner students tell me is that they feel a little bit overwhelmed with the idea of having to practice a lot. The truth is, right at the beginning, you're not going to have all of the content to practice if you haven't been playing that long. However, that sort of just builds up over time anyway. So something that you should aim to kind of do right from the start is just practice little and often. You're so much better off doing little and often than practicing like once a week and then getting to a guitar lesson if you have them and then being kind of disappointed in yourself because you feel like you haven't achieved much. I feel that it's better to keep your muscles flexed sort of often and keep them awake, keep you on your toes, than to just wait and go long periods of time without practicing, because you won't see as much progress if you're leaving big old gaps in between when you're picking up your guitar. So get a consistent practice routine together. I guarantee you're more likely to practice, and in aid of that, you're more likely to progress faster through doing that. Something that people ask me a lot is whether they're too young or too old to play guitar, and the answer is absolutely not. There is no age on music, there is no age on instruments. You can be any age to pick up an instrument. Personally, I think there is absolutely no relation to age and skill. I really think it comes down to experience and dedication. If you think music makes you happy, and if you think picking up an instrument makes you happy, then just do it, regardless of what age you are. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't care what people think. I started playing guitar when I was just 9 years old and everyone thought I was weird. I had the people that obviously admired that, but for people at school I was like mainly considered the weird girl. That quickly brings me on to another sort of point that is a part of this. Gender is also irrelevant when it comes to guitar playing. Guitar was kind of looked upon as quite a male-dominated instrument for a really long time. It's so refreshing to now see that all these female guitarists and shredders are coming out of the dark and absolutely kicking ass. Like, it is awesome. It just goes to show anyone of any age and any gender can play music. So a really helpful tip that I wish I would have known earlier on in my guitar journey was don't run before you can walk. As a guitar teacher now, I see it all the time, and I even do it myself sometimes. The biggest piece of advice that somebody could have given me that would have really helped would be to tackle things slow before you speed them up, because if you just jump in right at the deep end, the chances are you're gonna get disheartened by it anyway because it's not gonna sound good, and then you'll likely just give up on it. It's much better if you tackle it slow from the top, gradually increase the speed, get that muscle memory down, and then you'll probably find that you have it nailed at some point. It literally applies to everything. Riffs, scales, chords, songs, whatever it may be. Take it slow, gradually and speed it at a realistic pace, and then eventually you will hit your goal. So this is something that you must always remember no matter where you are in your guitar journey. It's not going to happen overnight. Mastering an instrument as a craft is something that takes so much hard work and so much dedication, and it takes time. If you get frustrated at yourself, just remind yourself that it doesn't happen instantly. It is going to take time, and it's going to take hard work and effort. The key is being consistent and persistent. If you keep trying, you'll get there. So on to number 6, something that I was privileged enough to manage to do when I was at the beginning of my guitar journey was to play with other people. I have learned some of the most incredible and helpful things from playing with other people. You'll find that you'll bounce off of their style and their technique, and you'll come into your own sort of character with guitar playing. Another huge benefit of playing with other people is that you're going to get a sense of other people in general. You're going to get a sense of what it's like to play in sort of a band scenario. Playing in your bedroom is a completely different thing to playing with real musicians in a room. I really recommend that you try and push yourself out there and play with other musicians. If you're struggling to find them, try and pop down to your local music shop. Often they might have like jam nights there, or pop down to an open mic night, or if you're at school, like try and start up a school band or something like that. I promise you it will really help. Alright, so this next one is something that I really could have done with sort of being told when I was a bit younger. Actually, I'm pretty sure that people did try and tell me, and I was just too stubborn to listen. Experiment with different styles of music. I was so set in my way as a rock and metal guitarist for many years, to be honest with you, for a really long time, until I got to college maybe, and I was forced to play other genres. Being pushed out of my comfort zone and being forced to play those other genres really helped me to grow as a musician. You get so much more experience, and you're so much more employable as well. You might find that in one genre of music you're using a technique that you wouldn't have even known about or discovered if you were playing in another genre. For example, if you were playing predominantly blues and then you explored metal, you might discover something like sweep picking, for example, whereas if you would have just stuck to playing blues, you would never have known about it. You might even find that you adapt those sort of techniques into your own style, and you might come up with something really cool. Push yourself out of that comfort zone. It will help you grow. Something I hear about a lot is natural ability and being born talented. Now, I think this is relevant to an extent. For example, if you had music in your family for many years, you're probably naturally gonna take to it. But I don't think this is completely true. Anyone can learn to play an instrument. Anyone can play guitar. It takes a lot of determination and a lot of dedication to be able to play an instrument. You have to keep your head screwed on and think ahead of those times where you're really struggling with something and you just want to give up, and you have to push on through. But yeah, anybody can learn. Something that I really struggled with actually in a lot of different scenarios was being able to ask questions and not feel stupid for asking them. I studied guitar all throughout my school years and all throughout college, and in that time I was put into a lot of situations where I was in lectures and classes where I've had burning questions, but I was literally just too scared to ask them because I thought that people would laugh at me. If you think about it, it is really silly to not ask a question just because you're scared of what people might think. The truth is, you're going to be the one with the knowledge after you've had that question answered. Don't be scared to ask questions, even if you think they might be stupid. Something that I actually get asked a lot is whether you really need a guitar teacher to be able to play guitar. And obviously the truth is, no, you don't need a teacher to be able to play the guitar. We are now living in a time where there are so many resources and learning materials online and on social media that you don't really need a guitar teacher to be able to pick up a guitar. Teachers come in really handy when you need refinement or when you're stuck, because they are there, right there with you. They can give you honest feedback there and then on your playing. If you're just watching a YouTube tutorial, you're not going to be able to get that feedback. That being said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being a self-taught guitarist. I had guitar lessons right at the beginning because I was so young. I was only 9 years old and I really had no idea what I was doing. But as time went on and I sort of understood my instrument a little bit more, I became more independent and then looked to the internet for guitar lessons. So there we have it, guys. That's my top 10 things that I think every beginner guitarist should know before they start their guitar journey. Obviously there is absolutely no right or wrong to this. I'm just kind of speaking from what I found over the years being a teacher, and obviously my whole guitar journey as itself. I really hope that you found some of this information useful, and feel free to drop a comment below if you have any more questions and I will get back to you. Please feel free to head over to my Patreon and check out my online guitar course if you're interested in learning from the internet. Patreon is where I upload exclusive tabs, tutorials, videos, licks, songs, riffs, everything, you name it, it's over there. I shall leave a link to my Patreon in my description if you want to check it out. Thanks again guys, like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!